If I'm there and I gotta put you away, I won't like it. But I'll tell you, you are going down.
What if you do got me boxed in and I gotta put you down? Because no matter what, you will not get in my way. I will not hesitate for a second.
Al Pacino, Robert De Niro, Val Kilmer in a Michael Mann film. Heat.
What's up, everybody? We are back. Welcome to a fiery edition of Real Chronicles, brought to you by RealTalking.com. I'm your host, David. I'm joined with today, Leo.
That was hot, bro. That was hot.
That was hot. Ryan the Temp is back.
Oh, my God. Ryan the Temp.
And Jen said, we are covering a great movie today, so I am not going to be on. So it's just the boys today.
Woo.
So by my wonderful introduction, we are covering the 25th anniversary of Heat. One of the most underrated film of the 90s, and I think one of the best films of the 90s, and the best film of 1995 in my personal opinion.
Would you say it's underrated?
Yeah, I guess I look at 1995 and where we're going to get to with like awards it won and all that stuff, and it didn't really get that as much love.
Fair.
Now everyone can talk about it as like this thing, like, you know, because of Pacino, De Niro, and all that stuff.
Yeah, the cast alone was like one of those like outsider type moments where it's like, if you put this cast together now, like the amount of money you have to front is gotta be insane.
Yeah, and the money that it would make though.
Oh,
I think we got that last year. The Irishman.
Oh yeah,
kind of
even
with like
more
big
so,
names.
Yeah, even with, like, I guess we'll go into it in our review, but even like the side characters were big names.
We're big names. All right, so we're gonna pretty much similar to last week. We're gonna reel it back and break down everything about Heat and also run through our categories as well. But before we get to that, we're gonna get into some news. I was gonna save the best and most shocking news for last, but we're gonna kick off with a little bit of Bob Iger. So I think I've mentioned here maybe like a year ago that Iger was leaving Disney at the end of 2021 after his contract resigned, but he resigned from the Walt Disney Company effective immediately earlier last week, and the internet went nuts.
Yeah.
I was shocked. My jaw dropped when I saw it at work. I also saw on film Twitter that someone that knows someone that works in the public relations at Disney said that they were taken by surprise too. So I think it was a surprise all around.
Oh, geez.
I don't know how I feel yet, actually, and it's almost been a week. I don't think people understand the legacy that this guy's leaving behind. We would need an hour or two to just sit down and talk about everything he's done, but we'll narrow it down to three things.
Jeez.
Marvel, Star Wars, 20th Century Fox. Wow. And that's just the recent things.
That's just, yeah, you're right.
That's just
he revolutionized like the parks and like the identity of what Disney is now.
He's the one that also was responsible for Disney Plus. He's the one that's responsible too for the merging of Disney Pixar.
Jeez.
As well.
That's huge too.
So it's just, I think he made, and this may be a hot take to some, I don't feel like it's a hot take. I think he made the biggest impact to Disney since Walt. That's just my personal opinion. I know Michael Eisner, and there was a lot of other CEOs between Walt and Bob, but I think Iger made the biggest impact to the company that since Walt. That's my personal opinion. And as a huge Disney fan of just not entertainment-wise, the parks, I see everything in the parks too. And I know that the new CEO was the former chairman of the park.
Okay.
And it's one of those, I've been hearing a lot of different things regarding that on like a lot of Disney forums. And I don't know how to feel about the new CEO because a lot of people complain about he destroyed the parks. I don't know that from an employee aspect because I don't work for Disney. I know it from me going to Disney consistently. I mean, he was a big he had a lot of involvement with the whole Galaxy's Edge thing. So I don't know. I really don't know.
How much? I guess we'd probably get ask our listeners too. Like, how much say did he have in naming his successor?
I think he had a big say.
Because I'm like, it's kind of like how we go into like Marvel movies, like with like this whole honestly, like just trust it. They've done so much good already. You have to just give it a shot. Like if Iger had any hands in naming his successor, he's done so much good for just the brand. You gotta at least give it a shot that he knows a little something about who can replace him.
I wonder if he did this too because you're going out. It's like MJ against the Jazz in '98.
Oh,
like Disney Plus was that final shot on Byron Russell.
Yeah,
and now he really doesn't have anything else to accomplish.
Well, yeah, because you just wrapped up the first Infinity Saga. You just wrapped up the trilogy of trilogies. You just wrapped up launching Disney Plus. You just wrapped up the parks being amazing. Like this is a good time to bow out
for sure. And then I didn't mention the new CEO's name. It's Bob Chapek. So like I mentioned, he's the former chairman of Disney Parks. So we'll see where we go. The stock dropped a good amount after Iger resigned, which as expected. I expected the stock to drop.
I would say buy now, and we're not even like into stocks that much. But I say buy now because it's got nowhere to go but up.
It's funny because as soon as I got the alert that he resigned, I told Jen, and I immediately said, "Oh, that stock's going to drop very quick." I have never received any entertainment news from the stock app that I use that holds my personal stock, and I got an alert from that app, Robinhood, stating that Bob Iger had resigned from Disney. Wow. So even the stock market app that I used knew like how big it was.
It's transcending into the different sections. You're like,
oh yeah,
nice.
So I mean, maybe one day we'll break down everything Iger has done, but it's for this conversation, it's pretty impactful, everything he's done. Yeah. And by everyone's reporting of him leaving, it shows that a lot of people were taken aback by it. Do you guys have any other comments, Rye or Leo?
The only thing I can say is if you really want another in-depth before we do an episode on it is, what was the name of the show on Disney Plus? The Imagineering one, and didn't they do a special episode just on him?
So Imagineering, I think episode 3 or 4 starts when Bob Iger took over. And it gets into
so go check it out. You learn a lot about that.
The whole series is fantastic. As someone that loves the park and everything about the park and Disney, I think it's an excellent look at the beginning of the parks and where they are today. And good pull on that ride, because there is a good amount of Bob Iger in it. I actually was watching it, and I was watching it with Jen, and I'm like, oh, Bob took a lot of time for this. He's all over this. So yeah, so Bob Iger will definitely be missed at Disney, and we definitely.
Ooh, question.
Yes.
Because I know there was and was there an Eisner biopic done yet?
I hope not.
So I'm wondering if there's like any feasibility into like a biopic of this iteration of Disney's legacy, and who we would cast to play.
Who's playing Bob Iger?
Yeah.
So this will probably have to take place in a few years. I don't know, Leo.
Yeah, you just get Leo.
That's all I got.
Get Leo.
I'm just thinking of the hairstyle, and they literally have the same hairstyle.
Not bad, yeah.
But yeah, that's a good one. I wonder, because I know Eisner didn't leave Disney in the best
of.
So I mean, we'll see what happens with that. All right, next bit of news is also revolving Disney. Steven Spielberg has dropped out of the Indiana Jones 5 film, but is being replaced, hopefully, by James Mangold.
Okay.
Who just directed Ford v Ferrari, also directed Leo's favorite film, Logan, and also directed Walk the Line.
I mean, he's got some good stuff. He's got some amazing stuff under his belt.
But it's weird to have an indie without Steve, right?
Yeah, I think so. I agree 100%.
Let's just keep Shia LaBeouf out of it, too, and then we could maybe have a good...
do it!
I haven't seen that movie since 2008.
Ooh.
So I don't remember if it... I mean... I remember not liking it.
Yes.
That's all I remember.
I think that's all you need to remember.
That's all you should remember.
Yeah, seriously. Yeah. That's all I remember. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
I like the replacement. It's not like you're replacing Spielberg with like a low-end director. You're getting someone that knows what he's doing. So we'll see what happens with that. Next bit of news. I'm not sure if you guys had the time to see it this week. The Candyman trailer.
No, I haven't seen it.
I'm not all in yet. but
Okay.
I'm more in than I was 2 weeks ago.
That's what
She
someone
said?
Yeah,
I think that's what she said. It looks good. It looks like Jordan Peele really has his hands on it because he wrote it and he is EPing. So I guess that's pretty much all on Candyman. Like, you guys haven't seen the trailer. Have you guys seen the original film?
No. I
think so. Long time ago.
Stayed away from horror when I was little, so like, no. But I will say that I typically defer to you when it comes to
Good.
horror remakes and stuff. Yeah. Like, if you're saying it looks good, then it actually
it looks good. Okay. Like, I recently saw The Invisible Man on Friday. Those trailers, I was okay. It looks fine, but I like Lee Winnell because I saw that no one's ever. I don't think I know anyone that's seen it outside of Jenny and I. It's a movie called Upgrade. He directed. So Lee Winnell, this is his third film he directed. Upgrade, he directed, I believe 2 years ago, and then he had directed Insidious Chapter 3.
Which is Upgrade.
So I'm gonna get you the synopsis because Upgrade is one of those that you should just watch. You don't need a synopsis type of thing. It's pretty wild. It's a really, really solid
Is it a video
film.
game type one?
No, it's not a video.
Okay.
No,
I
pretty much. He is kind of controlled, and he gains this. So pretty much, a brutal mugging leaves Great Trace paralyzed in a hospital, and his beloved wife dead. A billionaire inventor soon offers Trace a cure, an artificial intelligence implant called STEM that will enhance his body. Now he's able to walk, but he finds out he has super strength as well. It's really good. It's really solid.
Super sci-fi.
Yeah, it's like a better version of Death Wish. Have you ever seen that Charles Bronson film? It's really good. It's 87% on RT. But yeah, going back to quick thoughts on Invisible Man, it's fucking solid. It's so good. Without giving anything away, it's one of those films that obviously has different meanings outside of it being just a horror film. It captures a victim of domestic abuse, and the opening scene of that movie, and I am not even giving it justice by describing it. It's her escaping his house.
Got it.
And there is just a score playing, and that's it.
Jeez.
No, and I felt bad for Jen because she was so tense throughout that whole scene, throughout the whole movie, but throughout that scene. And Lee Winnell wanted to just keep that scene. He had a fight to keep it because the studio wanted him to shoot a scene of her being domestic, like being hit, being abused. And he's like, no, we need the audience to put everything together. And honestly, it worked because me sitting there watching it, I'm like, she's leaving and she's being this precise for a reason.
She's escaping.
And then the whole movie touches on him becoming the Invisible Man and like trying to torment her life. It's really, really good. Highly recommended. But yeah, moving on. This is more of a rumor. I don't know how accurate this is, but film Twitter is going crazy about it.
Yeah.
Because they've never read a comic book before. So there is news that Henry Cavill is our new Wolverine.
I saw.
It's strictly rumor. We'll see what happens once it's confirmed. Obviously, you'll see it on the site and all over our social media. All right, so two things that I got from film Twitter off this reaction to this news. They're very upset because he's already a superhero. Why does he need to play now another huge superhero?
He's going to the better brand. That's why.
Technically, yeah. And two, and I'm glad Leo's here and Rai is here for this. I'm gonna get the film Twitter voice ready for you guys.
Do it.
Why do they have to introduce Logan and Wolverine in a female-led superhero? Of course it's because it's a female-led superhero.
And Leo, can you please tell the folks about Logan?
Oh my gosh. So it's like the film. Screw you, film Twitter.
Leo got angry. I've never seen him get angry.
So it's funny when David dropped the news. I had so I gave up social media for Lent, which is making it tough to kind of figure out any of these news things happening.
Yeah.
But when David shared the news in our chat, I remember my first initial response, even before realizing or thinking, oh, Henry Cavill used to be Superman. I'm like, this is incredible because the attention to detail of introducing Logan and in a Carol Danvers movie is incredible because most people don't even know Carol Danvers and Logan have a very tight friendship in the comic books. It is probably one of the like most Marvel-like meta comic book homages that you can do because it's like a little known thing. Same thing with the Rogue rumor that she's going to be the villain in Captain Marvel.
Interesting.
That's another thing that most normal viewers won't know unless you're really into the deep comic book history. Rogue,
Yes, I didn't
Logan, so Captain Marvel's power set, Rogue is the one that absorbs it. That's the reason she has flight, super strength, endurance, is because she absorbed it from Carol Danvers. And when Rogue joins the X-Men, Logan hates her because Logan knows she's the one that put Carol Danvers in a coma. So there's a huge thing between like just history as far as comic book is concerned, where regardless of if it's Henry Cavill or not, if Disney decides to put in Logan in Captain Marvel 2,
It's good stuff.
I'm all about it. If you're a comic book fan, you should be about it too.
Not everyone's a comic book fan, as we've
No.
found out. So yeah, that I like the do like the casting though.
Yeah.
He has a very hairy chest. I think that works for Logan.
Mm-hmm.
And any thoughts on you're in Ryan? Or you're in agreement with us?
I am 100% agreeing with you guys. Like I said, I didn't know all this about Logan and Carol Danvers and all that. So this is news to me, and I think it's awesome that they're doing it, and that just shows how much Marvel cares about its comics.
Absolutely. All right, and then just finishing up, it's not really news. It's just a tidbit I found out, and it's kind of related to an animated film. So cool. Killing Joke.
Whoa, easy.
Okay.
We're very
Not a good animated film. Not a good animated film.
Well,
But
the
an
last part,
amazing
after the
story.
first 30
Amazing
minutes, they're
story.
fine.
So this has to do with more of the story.
Okay.
Something that I found out.
One of the greatest
And
stories
after-
in comic book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In my top, probably my second favorite comic book that I've ever read.
Love it.
All right, cool. So I was listening to an interview with Kevin Smith and Grant Morrison,
Oh, shoot.
and they were talking about The Killing Joke. This interview is a little old, but it's just something that came to light for me about 3 days ago. He was talking about The Killing Joke, and they're talking about the end of The Killing Joke. And if you remember the last probably 2 panels of The Killing Joke, they're both laughing, and then
Yes.
the last panel is just the water, and the laughter stops. I've always seen people, including myself, was saying that despite being such an amazing, incredible story, ending seems kind of anticlimactic. I think. I don't think that anymore, fellas.
Oh.
So Grant Morrison, during this interview, was saying, do you guys know, to Kev, like, do you know what the ending of The Killing Joke signifies? And he's like, yeah, I thought it was kind of underwhelming, blah, blah, blah. So Batman kills the Joker
I had a feeling you were going to go
in that
there.
panel. And that's why and I went back and looked at the panel after Grant Morrison spoke about it, and I'm like, motherfucker, he did kill him, because the last couple of panels, they talk about the one bad day, blah blah blah. Batman has his hands around Joker's neck while they're laughing together,
Yeah.
and then it progressively changes. The panels get smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller, and it's just a ha 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 ha, and then boom, done.
Abrupt
The
stop.
laughter stops. And Grant Morrison was saying that at that very moment, Batman had his bad day, and he broke his cardinal rule and killed the Joker. And that was Alan Moore. I don't think he was ever going to get that allowed.
Wow.
And I think that's why
awesome.
that's why they went with that more subliminal ending. You decide what you want, but yeah,
Yeah.
Grant Morrison was saying no. That he
He
killed
had
the Joker.
He had intended it for it to be Batman finally
Killing
breaking-
the Joker, yeah.
Wow.
And because the whole thing, that is The Killing Joke. And the fact that the Joker was talking about the entire story, like, all it takes is one bad day. And right there, he broke his code, which is, it makes that story even fucking better than I thought it was before.
Wow.
So not really dealing with any current stuff, but just something I wanted to share with you guys. Alrighty. So let's get to this. Hot. I'm feeling a little hot right now. I am going to apologize very early on because I am going to get loud on some of these things.
Oh, God. I already know what you're going to get loud.
I have a fucking list of things to get loud from. So we are covering the 25th anniversary of Heat. The movie did come out in December of 95, but I figure it's 2020. It's turning 25 anyway, so let's just break it all down. So to get things started, just going to run through a little bit of the pre-production, nothing too insane. In April 94, Michael Mann was reported to have abandoned his earlier plan to shoot a biopic of James Dean in favor of directing Heat, producing it with Art Linson. The film was marketed as the first on-screen appearance of Al Pacino and Robert De Niro together in the same scene. The film, this is cool. Michael Mann requested locations which did not appear on film before. So fewer than 10 of the 85 filming locations were previously used in films. So mostly everything that was used in this film had never been used in film before in terms of location. So that's awesome. That's pretty awesome. Film principal photography for Heat lasted 107 days. All of the shooting days were done on location. And Michael Mann decided we're not using a soundstage, which brings the authenticity of the film to another level. Box office wise, Heat was released on December 15th, 1995 and opened at number 3 at the box office with $8.4 million, finishing third behind Jumanji and Toy Story. Makes sense. Yeah. Makes sense there. It went on to have a total gross of $67.4 million in the U.S. and $124 billion in foreign box office. So it did pretty well at the box office, and it was ranked the 25th highest grossing film of 1995. So that's pretty much all regarding the filming and production. Well, pretty straightforward, no real issues with the production.
Excuse me. I know what I was reading though when I was doing some research for the episode. I saw too that it's loosely based on a story that.
I'm gonna get there.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
All right, the trophy room. To get to the category, the trophy room for the second straight week, it bare as fuck. Crazy. I'm going to pause real quick, because I'm going to remind people of what won Best Picture in 1995. Motherfucking Braveheart. And motherfucking Braveheart stinks.
Yeah.
It fucking reeks. Me speaking about it makes me reek.
For our listeners, David literally has a sheet of paper where he has his notes. He very neatly folded the piece of paper, laid it on the table, backed away from the table, and is now venting this rant.
How does this movie not get one Academy Award nomination? Not fucking one. Not one. Suicide Squad won an Oscar, and he can't get one fucking nomination. One, that's all I ask. I don't give a fuck if it won anything. Yeah. Give me one. And we're bare bones in this fucking trophy room because we want to give Braveheart an Oscar. No offense to Babe. I love Babe. Babe over fucking Heat. It is fucking amazing.
That's insane.
It's fucking amazing when me doing this reach. And I knew about this before.
Yeah.
I was just curious, like, if there was any love. Like, it got no love from anybody. Everyone loves it now. But back then, that's why I call it very underrated in a way. Because it's like, in 95, I don't think it has the love that we gave it right now.
That's a good point. It's a really good point.
And a lot of people complained about and I saw, like, it's easier to research stuff like this now than it was probably when you're doing stuff years ago. A lot of people thought there wasn't enough Pacino and De Niro together, but I'm going to get into that a little later.
Oh, no, yeah.
I thought it made every scene they were together in much more impactful, especially the diner scene.
Oh, that diner scene, yeah.
Is so great. But yeah, this small little vent on the trophy room section. There's no reason this film should be bare bones in this trophy section. Alrighty. Moving on to which age best and worst. For me, and I hope we're all are in agreement here, what's age best for me is that 7-minute bank heist.
Ooh.
I think everything about that bank heist makes it for me probably the best bank heist I've ever seen in a movie. And there's details to that later on that I'm going to get into. Comparing it to like a poor man's Heat, Den of Thieves, that kind of tries to be like a new Heat and does not do well with that. That's what's aged best for me. What about you guys?
Okay. For me, aged the best is some small details here and there, like as far as like plot development and character development. The fact that Edie is into graphic design. This movie was like back in 1994, 1995, right? And that's still relevant today.
She's nosy as shit, and I'm gonna get into that later.
As far as it's funny because Jenny's not on the episode today, but I made a note of the fact that every single significant other every female significant other was very demanding of their partners
Yeah.
for equality in their relationships.
That's good.
I love that.
That's a good find. I like that.
Because like back in the 90s, let's be honest, this is like most movies, most women were just like serving as like some kind of plot point. But I love the fact that all three significant others were like, they wanted more time with their spouses or significant others. The deadbeat dad thing aged pretty well because we still have to deal with that nowadays. Honestly, and I think their treatment of suicide, the suicide attempt.
Oh, I
thought it was okay.
That's actually gonna kick off age worse for me.
So for me, I think it aged well. So it's funny, the bank heist, I have a part of it that aged poorly for
Really?
me. Yeah.
Okay, so we'll get into that.
But yeah, that's what I have.
Rye, what do you have?
The heist scenes, I think they aged the best. Like, they do feel like I recently watched The Town, and it did it better than The Town, in my opinion. Like, and the diner scene, just the tensity for me. And for me, this was the first viewing, so this was very hard for me to come with
so
aging.
So Rye, this is the first time you've seen Heat. What did you think overall?
I thought, why haven't I seen this before?
I'm so glad you were able to do this episode.
Especially with the kind of movies that I do like. Like, I love Goodfellas, Godfather, stuff like that. So this flew underneath my radar for so long. It's shocking.
Yeah, so moving on to what's aged the worst, we are going to...
You want to kick off like what you mentioned?
Yeah, so I'm going to say that... Oh, man. I feel bad because you kind of set that up as what's aged best. But in terms of what's aged worst for me, I think...
I love that both of us have like the alternating views on those two things, though. That's interesting.
So age worst, I feel, is Natalie Portman Lauren's suicide attempt. Here's why. It's not that it was done. No, it's not how it was done. And I understand the downturn with the deadbeat dad. I get it. But I feel the scene and moment is completely out of place and comes completely out of left field. And I don't feel like it fits the tone of the film and where the film is actually trying to go. I feel like it's a side story that really never hits for me.
Okay.
That's kind of the only thing. That's why it's aged. It's not that it was not well done.
Got it.
It's more on the, why
when
is it
and
here
how.
Why is it here in the first place? Yeah, so
Fair.
that's kind of where I'm at with that. And then you said,
yeah. On the flip, I felt that there's a commercial that aired. It was like, I think when one of these school shooting schools was going to go back in session, and they released like a special commercial ad promo about school violence. And like in the background, you always see this one kid being picked on, but the speaker in the commercial was in the forefront. So you don't pay attention to what's happening in the background of the whole commercial until the very end. You're like, oh wow, I've been missing the signs. I think that's the point of the way Mann treated the suicide attempt, was that she wasn't a focus of the movie. It was in the back scene.
Gotcha.
You were so more focused on everything going on with the marriages, the relationships, the crimes, and you were completely neglecting this poor girl that all she wanted was love from her dad. And I just thought that it was I guess a little bit unnecessary. But the fact is that it was still a very real issue to address back then, still a really big issue to address it now. And I actually did like the fact that we were neglecting Natalie Portman the whole movie, and it's like, oh man, we should have been at least paying attention a little bit for her, because her mom wasn't doing anything.
she stinks.
Yes.
She fucking stinks. And then, Rye, what do you have on age worse?
Actually, I don't have anything because, like I said, first time, so for me it was hard to pick anything
that's
that
perfectly
aged
fine.
badly.
So the other thing for like the heist.
Yeah.
So the heist itself was amazing. I loved it. I still love it. The crazy destruction of the city afterwards.
Well, yeah.
That didn't age too well.
Yeah.
True.
I felt like I was watching a Marvel movie for a second.
Yes. All of a sudden, I'm like, and I'm not gonna lie. I'm like, the only other movie I've seen destroy a city this quickly was
Avengers?
was
Man
Man
of
of Steel. And Man of Steel got mad heat for that.
Oh yeah, literally heat.
No pun
Well done.
intended.
I did want to include this, but I wanted to wait till after we touched on age worse and best scenes. I have lines that have aged really, really well.
Okay.
It is not what you think it is, but I'll get to that in a second. All right, so two lines that have aged incredibly well are when Neil's talking to Van Zandt on the phone, and then after Van Zandt tries to have him killed, And then he's pretty much, what are you doing? And Neil is like, what am I doing? I'm talking to an empty telephone. And he's like, Van Zandt's like, I don't understand because there's a dead man on the end of this fucking line. What?
Yeah.
If I was Van Zandt, I would have fucking gone to Colombia or something and
Yep.
said, done, I'm out. I don't need anything. And then, of course, don't get yourself attached to anything. You're not willing to walk out in 30 seconds flat if you feel the heat around the corner. That line is still
amazing.
iconic. So I just wanted to touch on those two quick lines. Alrighty. Let's do some facts. Let's do some facts about Heat. I have 25 facts for 25 years.
Look at that.
Alrighty. Number 1, Heat was adapted from a 1989 TV movie.
Yep.
Heat director Michael Mann developed the story as a potential TV show after the success he had producing Miami Vice and Crime Story for television. While it was never picked up by a network as a series, NBC aired the made-for-TV movie LA Takedown in 1989. LA Takedown represents about 40% of Heat's eventual storyline. Pretty cool.
Yeah.
Heat's story is based on the exploits of former Chicago police officer Chuck Adamson. Mann and Adamson met while working on TV show Crime Story, which Adamson created and Mann executive produced. Adamson really did track down and ultimately kill a real-life master criminal named Neil McCauley.
That blew my mind.
Though it wasn't at LAX
awesome.
like in the film, McCauley was killed during an armored car hijacking outside of an Illinois supermarket.
Nuts.
Pretty cool.
Nuts.
The LA Metro stop used in the opening appears in another Michael Mann film. Does anyone want to guess which Michael Mann film it appears? It was the first time used was in Heat, and then it was used again in another movie.
No, I got
Collateral.
Oh, wow.
2004's Collateral.
Actually, this movie does have a Collateral feel to it.
Same
too.
director. So
that makes
yeah.
sense. Oh, shoot.
Great movie. All right, number 4. I mentioned before that everything was not filmed on a
Soundstage.
nothing was filmed on a soundstage. There are no CG effects used in the heist that opens the movie. The production actually tipped over an armored car while shooting on location.
Oh my gosh.
It was top heavy and it waited to make the stunt possible. And number 5, Robert De Niro and Al Pacino were the director's first picks to star.
Yes.
In fact, they were the only actors offered the leading roles.
Yep.
I mean, what else? I can't see this movie with anyone else but Al and Bobby.
At the same time, like I feel like most directors go into it with this like Christmas list of like, well, I'm making a movie. If I can get De Niro and Pacino, I guess I'll take De Niro and Pacino. Well, of course you want De Niro and Pacino.
And in 95, you definitely want De Niro and Pacino.
And he got them both.
This one, I think we both, all three of us knew. And all our listeners probably didn't know this. Heat was the first movie to feature De Niro and Pacino on screen together in the same scene. Do you guys know what the other movie is?
Is it another one? Isn't this the one that we did another Reel It Back for?
I think so. So the first movie that they were together in was The Godfather Part II, but they never shared a scene together. After these two great movies, they did a movie I don't like talking about called Righteous Kill. And then they made up for it in last year with The Irishman. So that is the 4 movies that they have worked on together.
Nice.
Pacino and De Niro hardly have any time together on screen, which I mentioned earlier. The two stars spend less than 10 minutes of the entire 70-minute film in each other's presence.
Wow, that little.
I think it starts from the diner scene,
Yes.
the shootout, and then the end.
Well, I guess you're also counting him pulling him over into
From the
diner
pull,
scene.
yeah. So the pullover, coffee scene, the coffee diner scene, the shootout, and technically that scene is about 3-4 minutes.
Yeah.
Because the bank heist they weren't.
Shoot, that's crazy.
Al wasn't there, and then obviously the final scene at the airport. So, and it feels a lot more. It reminds me of Ledger in The Dark Knight. He's only there 23, 24 minutes.
Say that too.
Yeah, but then he feels like he's there more. Heat is Natalie Portman's second film ever. Do you guys know what her first movie is?
The Professional, right?
Yes.
I
Have
do.
you guys seen that, Rye? Have you seen that?
Yeah, baby.
No.
Oh, watch that today if you can.
Oh, dude, Leon the Professional.
Leon the Professional. It is so Leon the Professional. It is right. We recommend Heat. I think Leon is just as good. It's really, really solid.
Because it's funny because
work.
the movie stands on its own, but now it's also like been immortalized as Natalie Portman's first movie.
Yeah,
but the movie alone is so good.
And Gary Oldman as a villain is always great.
Can't go
so
wrong.
you won't go wrong there. All right, moving on. John Voight's character Nate is based on an ex-con
That mullet, baby.
and writer Eddie Bunker. Mann made Bunker's book No Beast So Fierce required reading for the actors in De Niro's criminal crew.
Ooh.
Bunker also served as a technical consultant on the film. Number 10, Michael Mann did a lot of research for the film. He spent 7 months on ride-alongs with LAPD's robbery and homicide department.
Oh, shoot.
Pretty cool stuff there. In preparation for number 11, preparation for the bank heist sequence, the film's technical advisors had the actors case a real bank without anyone noticing.
What?
Tom Sizemore actually began fake negotiations for a bank loan with a bank employee during the stunt.
I freaking love that fact.
That's so you don't do
love
that anymore, man.
fact.
You don't fucking do that anymore. You just fucking go on a soundstage.
Yo, that's dedication
That's
right
so
there.
fucking fun.
That's awesome.
Heat's robbery scenes are thought to be so accurate. That's why I don't agree with you on like.
Well, the aftermath, the destruction after the
Yeah, Heat's robbery scenes are thought to be so accurate that real thieves have copied its tactics.
I did see that.
In 1997, a North Hollywood shootout was allegedly inspired by the heist in the film.
Crazy, man.
That's crazy.
I'm just saying, walking outside with AK-47s and blasting downtown.
Listen, man.
That's a little.
I mean, in today's day, it's
Yeah.
not that bad.
That's a good point. That's a good point. Actually, it's probably more realistic now.
For sure. Number 13, to prepare for the downtown shootout sequence, the actors went through 3 months of firearm training. An estimated 800 to 1,000 blank rounds were used per take while shooting the scene.
So dope.
Alrighty. Number 14. We're almost there, guys. We're almost there. But these are all so fun. All the gun sound effects in the shootout sequence were taken from an on-set audio. Mann originally planned to add gunshots to the audio, sound mixing and sound editing, guys,
Yep.
in post-production, but when he tried to do so, he didn't feel like it sounded real enough, so he kept the audio as is. And I'm going to touch a little bit on that real quick. I have a surround system, and it's loud. And that bank heist and shootout with my sound system is... I felt like the cops were going to come over here and just break down my door. That's how intense it sounded. It was pretty crazy. So next up, when Kevin Gage, who plays Waingro, was in prison for 2 years in 2003, he was universally addressed by fellow inmates and prison guards as Waingro, his character from the movie.
Oh, shoot.
Number 16, more on Waingro. He is based on real Chicago criminal named Waingro, who ratted out some influential Chicago criminals. According to Michael Mann, Waingro went missing. His body was found in northern Mexico where it had been nailed to the wall of a shed.
Oh, my
Damn.
God.
Number 17. In an early draft of the script, Vincent Hanna has a cocaine habit,
Yes, I did know this.
which, according to Al, explains his bombastic outbursts.
Well, he said, I think he just released that this cocaine addiction happened in 2016.
That's crazy,
I'm
right?
like, he just told everybody now.
Number 18. Many viewers claim that Robert De Niro and Al. This is regarding them together. Which the first time I saw Heat, I kind of thought the same thing because I saw it on tape. Many viewers claim that Robert De Niro and Al Pacino never actually did share screen time during the film, despite the hype surrounding the film's release as showcasing their first screen appearance. The reason for this is most pan and scan version of the film and television broadcast, it does appear that during the diner scene, the two never actually share the screen because it's so tight. You're only getting a shot of one. So people were saying that they shot that at different times, but now with the innovation of Blu-ray and widescreen, it's obvious that they are in the same coffee shop, which is pretty cool. This is pretty interesting regarding the score of the movie. Composer Elliott Goldenthal wrote the piece to score over the final scene of the movie.
Oh, Goldenthal did the music to this?
Yeah. But Michael Mann replaced it with Moby's God Moving on the Face of the Water. That at the end of the movie it's one of my favorite pieces of music that out of any ending of a film. I love it. I think it fits so perfectly. And it's in the trailer too. So they replaced Goldenthal's score with that.
Which Batman movie did Goldenthal do the music for, David?
Batman Forever. Batman and Robin. But Goldenthal ended up reusing the piece as the end titles from Michael Collins in 1996. Oh, sure. He just replaced replacing the electric guitar with a fiddle. So you could, I think you could still find his original theme on his site or something along those lines. Alrighty, this is Batman related. I'm glad you brought that up.
Oh, nice.
William Finchner, who plays Roger Van Zant, also appeared in a Batman
The
movie.
bank manager.
He is the bank manager in the opening sequence of The Dark Knight.
Oh wow.
Yes.
That's right.
He's also the Shredder in.
I knew I
Michael
recognized
Bay's-
him from somewhere.
He's also the what?
He's also the Shredder in Michael Bay's Ninja Turtle movie.
Is he really?
Yeah, Eric Sachs.
Oh,
It's
interesting.
terrible.
I didn't know that.
It's disgusting.
And speaking of Christopher Nolan's Dark Knight, he has named Heat as an influence on his version of Gotham City.
Yes, sir.
Which is not shocking because when you watch both, I can see it. I can see how.
And even that bike heist has certain like.
Well,
Nolan
has said that was he ripped it off pretty much. Is the
Fair.
inspiration for it, which
Love it.
doesn't shock me. Alrighty, number 21. The next couple are all casting stuff, which makes me go crazy on what his possibilities were. James Caan had been rumored to have been considered for the role of Nate.
Wow.
Caan lamented to Michael Mann that he did not get to star in Heat on their 1998 DVD commentary for Thief.
Would have been another Godfather tie-in too.
Yeah.
That would have been cool.
The next one. Don Johnson was briefly considered for the role of Michael Toretto. No, you don't like that?
No.
I think it'd be too distracting.
Yeah.
He was also discussed as a possible backup for both Robert De Niro and Al Pacino in case one of them said no.
Huh. Don Johnson wouldn't have the same.
No, I don't think so.
No.
And speaking of Toretto, along with that, Jean-Claude Van Damme was briefly considered.
Oh my God, I would have loved this so much.
No, you wouldn't have.
This movie would have been so amazing.
No. Even Ryan can admit
there would have been martial arts.
Jean-Claude Van Damme is a garbage actor.
There would have been splits.
Yeah, no.
No one here would have wanted the unnecessary splits happening during the fight scenes.
What do you want to do? Split and shoot him like his AK-47 on a
that
split?
could have been epic.
Oh my God, it's so brutal. 23. This one was literally, it was signed, sealed, and delivered until it wasn't. Keanu Reeves was originally signed to play Chris.
No way.
Yeah, and they ended up losing the part when Val Kilmer was able to squeeze in filming Heat while filming Batman Forever.
So that means that they wanted Kilmer more than Keanu.
Yeah.
And they had Keanu ready to rock, and then Kilmer made it work.
Because he was shooting Batman at the time.
Damn.
And he couldn't get it in, but he was able to fit it in for. And I think Kilmer is fantastic.
Yo,
We'll
yes.
get into it in
Yes.
a little bit. Also, before casting the role, Brad Pitt was also considered for the role of Chris.
That would have been cool.
And I see it with the long hair.
Yes.
And I think Pitt had the long hair at the time.
Interview with the Vampire had long hair too.
So I could have seen that.
That could be cool.
And I met Nate. John Boy's character is based on a real-life former career criminal, Edward Bunker. Bunker had previously starred in another famous heist film. Do you guys not want to guess what movie that is?
No idea.
1992. One of my favorite directors.
Italian Job?
Reservoir Dogs.
Oh, shoot.
And finally, this is one of Christopher Nolan's favorite film. The film inspired his version of Gotham City, as I mentioned before. Interesting enough, this began a decade after Heat. 2005 was Batman Begins. And to continue the Batman theme, Val Kilmer played Batman in 1995's Batman Forever. So those are my 25 fun facts of Heat.
There's a lot of tie-ins to Batman in the Heat.
I love it.
That makes me like it more, right?
That's why I like Heat so much.
You knew, right? You're like, oh, I feel like I've seen this before with guys in
I know
cowls.
that guy. I know
So
that guy.
dope,
I
so
know her.
dope.
She was in Star Wars.
Alrighty, so let's get to our categories and our awards. The That Guy from Award.
Oh, yes.
Let's replace that guy with that girl.
So it's funny, That Guy Award, I had like 7 characters I was ready to give it to, but I stuck with one.
So I went with That Girl Award, and I went Amy Brenneman, who plays Edie.
Edie.
So outside of Heat, I've only seen her in Fear, Daylight, and 88 Minutes. However, I immediately go back and say, yeah, that's that lady from Heat. So that's why I went with her. What did you guys go with?
So I treated that guy differently. I went to like, as I'm watching Heat, I'm like, where do I know that guy from? So I originally had Danny Trejo.
Why?
Well, because I mean, I'm like, oh wait, that's Danny Trejo. I ended up getting it. I stuck
Machete.
with Dennis Haysbert.
Help me out here.
Dennis Haysbert plays he plays the President Palmer in 24, and he does all the Prudential commercials.
I'm out.
Donald, the cook that ends up helping out.
Isn't he in Major League?
Yes.
Isn't he the Cuban player?
The Cuban player.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I put Dennis Haysbert. When I saw him, I'm like, wait a minute. That's President Palmer. That's my pick.
And
for,
Rye,
for
what do you
that
have?
guy.
Again, nothing, because I can't be like, oh, that's that guy from Heat, when obviously this is my first time seeing Heat.
Perfect. Alrighty. So the Deadlift Shrimp MVP, the Deadlift Shrimp 6-man of the movie, best supporting player. I went with Val Kilmer here as Chris.
Same.
Because
Same.
oh, perfect.
Yeah.
And I think, and a special shout out to his girl. Was his wife or his girlfriend?
Yeah.
Was that his wife already or just girlfriend?
She was a reformed proprostitute turned, I think, wife.
So all right. So Ashley Judd is Charlene. I think she, like you mentioned before, she knows what she wants.
Yes.
She's a badass.
Yes.
And I think both of them stand out in their roles, especially Chris, as his Neil's right hand man.
Yeah.
I think the scene that stands out for me more, and why I think he stands out throughout the entire movie, but I think the scene that hits for me and what works the best for both of them is towards the end of the movie after Chris recovers from getting shot, and he's going back. He's going to rejoin Charlene. Good to go. And then he sees her just wave him off.
Yeah.
And the look of devastation on his face, like, I survived this. I'm going back to you, and I can't even do that. I think that scene just triggered, like, yeah, this guy's my Deadlift Shrimp.
Yeah, I think easily, even when you like, it's funny because like we mentioned for like the That Guy Award, right? You have Danny Trejo, Hank Azaria, Jeremy Piven, Natalie Portman, Ashley Judd.
You know what's something that has aged the worst is Jeremy Piven's hairline. Where did that hair left and came back quick for Entourage?
LeBron James, baby.
Oh my God! But go ahead.
With that kind of star power, like you figure, like, all right, this 6-man award is going to be tough. And Val Kilmer just stands out. He just does so much, and even like he doesn't have that much of actual like dialogue.
But
either.
when he's in it,
he's quite a quiet.
I felt like I wanted to go buy lumber. Watching it. I was ready to go.
I definitely felt like when he's at the house and he gets there and he's trying to get her to get ready to go out. I felt like so much like conflict within him. He did so much. He ate up the scenery whenever he was on it.
Yep, big time.
I like Kilmer for sure.
Right. Did you want to add anything?
No, you guys said it perfectly.
Awesome. Alrighty. There's no crying in baseball. So I did cry of laughter at some of these moments. Let's start with Neil. So Neil shunning Edie at the bar cracked me up.
Yo.
Because she was aggressively pushing up.
Yes.
She was ready to like, yo, I want to go home with you.
And
then when Neil's like, lady, why are you interested in what I read and why I'm here? I was like, shunned to no end. That made me chuckle a little bit. But Al Pacino with his fucking lines. Here are some of my favorite. When he's like, give me all you got! Give me all you got! That one was great. I like, and I'm going to save my favorite for last. I really like, and I thought it was really funny when he finds out that his wife is cheating on him.
Oh my gosh.
And he's like,
when he walks
you
in,
can sit on the couch, but you won't take my motherfucking television.
TV.
And then he just grabs the television and leaves. That's fantastic. And finally, which I think is ad-libbed, because I think if you watch that scene, I think he wants to say something else, but he says this wonderful line.
Oh God, I've been waiting for this probably. The minute I knew we were going to record this episode, I knew this line was going to come out.
And shout out to Jenny while we were testing. She tried to do the audio for it, and just no. You got to do it this way.
Do it, buddy.
When Van Zandt like, not Van Zandt, the guy that Charlene was cheating on.
The Hank Azaria with Hank Azaria. Yeah.
When he's like, why did I get involved with that bitch? He's like, Cause she's got a great ass, and you got your head all the way up it. The cocaine that Al Pacino must have been on, I fucking tear the fuck up. I think when I first showed Jenny, because I had been saying it, I said it randomly one time, and she's like, where is that
like,
from?
David's at church and randomly just says the words.
And, and I was like, oh, it's from this movie called Heat. She had never seen it. And when she saw it, she got it. I cry. It's fucking hilarious. I hope you guys didn't cry for any sadness in this
Oh,
movie.
it wasn't crying, but there were some heartfelt moments. I definitely I felt bad whenever like the when Edie's in the car waiting and and he's walking up to her and he's like, because he's the hardest one to crack at getting a significant other.
Yeah.
He stays solo for such a long time and he finally finds someone that he can trust with that part of himself, and he's walking up to the car, sees that he's about to get hunted down.
Vincent's right there. Fun fact, I counted, it wasn't less than 30 seconds.
Wow.
Yeah, so they kept true to he's willing to walk away in 30 seconds.
Dope. But yeah, I would say that's the most heartfelt for me.
And Rye, do you have anything?
Well, it's funny. I'm in the same vein as Leo. I was screaming at the television at De Niro for going back to kill the snitch. Just fucking go. You have everything you want. Just go.
And it's crazy.
You stupid.
That's a great point, Rye.
Great point, Rye. Yeah.
Vince is done. Like, Vincent was like, I'm just going to go home and sleep. I'm done. Like, I've lost him. And he admits, like, that's why I love that scene at the diner, because they don't want to, they both respect each other right away.
I love that. Yes.
And they're like, they don't want to, they just happen to be on opposite end. One's a cop, one's a bank robber. So it just happens to be, like, they don't want to kill each other, but if they have to, they have to.
Well, they both said it. They're like, look, I like you, but if it's between you and that, I'm going with that.
Yeah. Alrighty, so let's move to our peaks and valleys. And for any listener, peaks is who peaked with this movie, valleys who had the best career after it. I think my peak was pretty easy this week.
Okay.
So I went with Kevin Gage, who plays Waingro.
Oh, shoot.
I don't know anything else he's ever been in.
Okay.
And is that the Jason Momoa lookalike? I can't remember his name.
No, he's Waingro. He's the snitch.
No, he's the the all tatted up guy, the rat.
I don't remember.
Okay.
I even looked at his resume after. I don't know anything he's ever been in. So I think
actually that's a solid pick.
He peaked with Heat, and I never heard from him again.
No, that's a really solid pick. He's a really big role in Heat too.
Yeah. So you think he become like this cliche '90s action villain type of thing, and I never really heard from him again. So
good.
that's my peak. What do you have?
Solid pick. Actually, you know, it's funny. I did the same thing. I went into like IMDb and tried to see. I ended up relying on Diane Venora.
Who's that?
She's Justine.
Oh yeah, that's a good one too.
She peaked with Heat. It's ironic when we were going through the trophy room.
she won an Oscar.
She was nominated for a Chicago Film Critics Award.
For what?
For Best Supporting Actress for Heat.
That doesn't count.
It doesn't count.
Oh
no, her main claim to fame after this movie was like in 1988. She was nominated for a Golden Globe.
For what?
For a Bird.
Sure, why not?
But either way, like, there was nothing after the fact. And let's be honest, like when you look at the cast of Heat, like Diane Venora is like a name. You're like, okay, all right.
Sounds like someone you meet at the bank. Like she's your banker.
She's a banker.
Yeah, she's your banker. What about you, Rye? What do you have?
I went with I never got his name. The Jason Momoa lookalike. He was one of
who are you talking?
The hotheads.
I can't think of who you're talking about.
Jason Momoa lookalike.
What Jason Momoa?
He looks like Jason Momoa at the end of that commercial, like when he's no longer buff. Make Jason Momoa ugly,
it's
and that's
Waingro.
that
It's
guy.
Waingro.
Yeah, Waingro.
Waingro.
Yeah.
So that's
so
him.
it's funny when he said it's Jason Momoa lookalike. I'm like, wait, is he talking about Trejo?
Yeah, because I'm like,
I love Danny Trejo.
Yeah, I was like,
and that was like Trejo before all the tats.
Yeah,
he was very
clean cut.
Yeah, I was like, oh my lord.
Alrighty, so let's go to the valleys.
This was a good one.
So I by the way, with peak, I almost went with Al Pacino. If it wasn't for The Irishman, I think I would have done Al, because I think this may have been his last.
The caliber of work in this is very different.
Substantially dropped after this for him.
Yes.
So it would have been like an interesting choice for peak, but like I was looking at him like, okay, but he still had Devil's Advocate, Donnie Brasco, The Insider, and then The Irishman. So.
And let's be fair, there are movies after this that people would know him from more than Heat.
Yeah, so I was like, I couldn't go there. All right, so my valley actually went with probably. You probably guys will.
You had a pick of the litter for valleys.
So I went with Robert De Niro.
Really?
Here's my reason.
This is incredible.
Robert De Niro had an amazing first half of his career. One of the best. I think Robert De Niro is probably top 3 best actors of all time.
Yeah.
And I don't think anyone could argue with me on that. However, hear me out. After Heat, he made Jackie Brown, Wag the Dog, Analyze This, Silver Linings Playbook, The Irishman, Joker. Great films. However, what made him my choice was what he did with comedy.
Meet the Fockers is what.
Meet the Parents and Meet the Fockers. I was like, yo, like, De Niro is hilarious when he wants to be.
Fair.
Like, yes, he did make some hot garbage, but
Yes.
I think, like, if you really look at it, Kilmer after this did Batman Forever, and he did the same. But after that, I think he kind of just did a lot of like TV appearances and like little movies.
I know he
here
did
and
other
there.
work too. But yeah.
I
okay.
could, but if I really want to be honest with myself and not be a mark and pick De Niro, the obvious answer is Natalie Portman.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. Because that's like,
Did I redeem myself now?
Yeah. No, I respect it too because you're that's a legitimate case for it. But
It's Natalie Portman,
You
I know.
cannot not say Natalie
I
Portman
know,
for this.
I know.
Honestly, I would have even appreciated you saying Ashley Judd because this was like Ashley Judd's like fourth movie.
But then she did Double Jeopardy and everything. Went,
No, but it's absolutely
it's Natalie Portman. I know.
Her-
What, did you go with the same thing, Ryan?
Yeah.
Yeah, because she did Queen Amidala like 3
yeah,
years
that's the
later,
greatest
so-
Star Wars movies ever.
Duh. That's what everyone says.
What sucks is that like she's so great, but when she doesn't want to try, she really doesn't try.
Yeah,
And we know
Jane
as Marvel
Foster,
fans,
baby. Jane Foster, baby.
Our new Thor, baby.
Only person to die of sadness.
She's gonna try so hard with now that she's Thor, though.
She
I think
has-
she's
yeah.
gonna be like, everyone's gonna be like, oh wait, yeah, that's the
All
Natalie
eyes
Portman
are on
we-
her. This is
Yeah.
because like back with Thor 1, like Thor 1 was like what the fourth MCU movie.
I think she tried a little there
but then
because
Dark World.
Hemsworth wasn't Hemsworth yet.
No.
He was the guy that we picked for to play Thor, and Natalie Portman is still Natalie Portman. So I think that's why.
And I know the director thing had a huge issue with her with Dark World too.
I think Taika will do perfectly
I
fine.
agree.
So yeah, I think I gave my case for De Niro, and I'm going to stick to it. But we all know the right answer is Natalie Portman.
Yeah.
Alrighty, so let's go to our
And
Becky.
not Val Kilmer. He was Batman. Damn it.
And
Oh yeah, that.
let's just do this real quick.
I love it. Your voice got to a whole different octave right there.
He's like probably second to last for me in terms of Batman
Wait.
on
What?
film.
Ranking as far as Batman?
Well, I guess if we have to count Adam West because the '66 movie, then I'd probably put. No, I still would put Adam West. I'd take Adam West over Val Kilmer as Batman. I think.
I mean-
I'll put Kilmer on top of Adam West.
You think so?
Yeah.
But I think it's like tiers of
But
Batman.
I'm also probably pulling Pattinson, and I haven't even seen Pattinson.
Oh, I think Pattinson will be perfectly fine because he's a great
I
actor.
think, yeah, I think Kilmer's bottom.
Bottom three.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Kilmer, West,
Clooney.
and Clooney. And people are like, "Oh, Adam West." I'm like, "Yeah, man, Adam
Yeah,
West."
no, Adam West.
Let's call it what it is.
Because Adam West wasn't really Bruce Wayne or Batman. Adam West was Adam West.
You're not wrong. It's crazy the tiers we go from. You go those three, and everyone else is like really solid.
Yeah, and Batfleck is legitimately a contender for like, yeah.
He's my number 3.
I like it.
I think Keaton, Bale, and
I think my problem with Batfleck is strictly script driven.
yeah, it's not him.
Not him.
Yeah.
He's the best part of the movie.
Absolutely.
Easily. Him and Gal are the best
Absolutely.
parts of the movie. But that's another podcast for Let's Destroy what Zack Snyder does. All right, so moving on to our final award, the Becky.
Oh, I think this is gonna be a fun one.
So the Becky O'Shea Icebox Award for the MVP of the film. I went with both De Niro and Pacino because
You little
I'm a fucking mark, man. I'm
you
a fucking
bastard.
mark. Did you go for the same thing?
No.
Oh, good.
No.
Right, you didn't go for the same thing, did you?
I did go for Pacino and De Niro. They
Oh,
made the
you
film
are
for me.
little. You freaking.
They are the
cheaters.
Movie. They are the movie.
Fair. Okay, give your cases.
I just did. I gave my case. They're the movie.
the movie.
They. Oh my god. It's. You know how sometimes the stars align.
Yeah.
And I think the stars align so perfectly with
Yes.
those two in this movie because while Al did fall off with what he did after this movie, I think that he was still at the top of his game.
Fair.
And I think those two together really, really knocked it out of the ballpark because, like I mentioned before, you're only in the movie 10 minutes together, and you still feel like it's a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And when they're not together, they do such an incredible job. I actually look back at that scene where they're doing like a small heist, and De Niro hears a cop makes a noise when they're staking out.
Yes,
And then
they're
there's a
about to
scene
get
where
there. Yeah,
De Niro's looking at the camera, and Pacino's looking at the screen, and you see that interaction.
the infrared, right?
Yeah, I really thought that was really strong. And obviously the scenes we know with the bank heist and the diner. Yeah, man. Those are the only two options for MVP.
All
and
right.
don't you dare say Danny Trejo.
All right, go for it, Ryan. What's up? What's your?
David took the words right out of my mouth.
All right, so my pick for the Becky O'Shea Icebox for this movie is Michael Mann.
Okay, I guess I'll give you Michael Mann.
So
like
the way he managed, so he freaking Russo brothered this before the Russo brothers. He managed to like literally like weigh out so many good personalities, so many good scenes, so many like he literally made you feel conflicted between crime and law. You were rooting for both sides, and in one movie to root for both sides,
that's
it's conflicting as hell.
That's a really good point. I didn't even think about that because you really don't. We know with black and white, but good guy and bad guy. But I think he paints a lot of gray.
Yeah,
I don't really root for any. I hate that De Niro dies. That Neil dies at the end.
Yeah, like
it's true. That's a very good point.
Neil's crime syndicate is a way better family than anything on the good side.
Yeah, they're connected. There's a very strong family.
I think Michael Mann did an incredible job of this. He's my pick.
Well done. Well done. I stay shut. Hell, I will say that Neil's crime family is more destructive, a better formed villain than any DCEU villain. In all of Phase 1 Marvel.
Yes, definitely all of Phase 1 Marvel.
Yeah, I'm pretty confident in saying
I
that.
agree wholeheartedly. Yes,
and then finally, legacy of the film.
Oh yeah.
Outside of the inspirations on other films that I made when I was talking about the facts, he also was one of the inspirations behind the highly influential Grand Theft Auto 3.
Yep.
As well as the 2013 sequel, Grand Theft Auto 5, which. There is a bank heist, and one of the characters does actually resemble Wayne Grove.
Yeah.
Or Jason Momoa.
Or Jason Momoa, according to Ryan. And no, like I mentioned before, I think it shows the best bank heist I've ever seen on screen.
Yes.
And I think it's the best movie of 1995. I think it's an absolute criminally missed chance by the Oscars to nominate something different and give an award to something different for that time. Nowadays, I think this movie gets a shit ton of Oscar noms in today's climate. I think this movie gets a shit ton of Oscar noms. But yeah, so that brings up a little thing that I had here. In March 2016, Michael Mann announced that he is developing a Heat prequel novel as part of launching his company, Michael Mann Books. And as of January 2019, the book has been completed. No word, it hasn't been released yet, but it's good to see if anyone likes to read and wants to know how Neil...
I mean, we all know this is going to get adapted into some form of Netflix, right?
Yeah.
And then we're going to CGI Al and Bobby again. It's going to be wonderful. It's going to be wonderful.
De-aging, baby.
And like I mentioned, it's my favorite film in 1995. So any last thoughts on...
I honestly want to hear from Ryan.
Yeah,
it's his first time watching this movie.
Right, you pop your cherry. Let me know how I felt.
Like I said, it took me way too long to see this film. It was excellently well done. I was invested the entire time through. And if you haven't seen it, well, first of all, spoiler alert for half the shit. Second of all, go fucking see it.
And this is why you got to listen to the podcast, because you find some interesting movies every week.
Absolutely.
All right, kids. So that wraps everything up for today. We'll see you next week. And don't forget, you got 30 seconds to leave flat if you feel the heat around the corner.